All right, here's a story that you might not have heard about. Down in Alabama, the prisoners basically went on strike, and the correction officers went on strike with them. Now, in a bunch of states, in case you're not aware of it, if you become incarcerated, you lose every single right that you have. Well, no, let me back up. You don't lose every last one of them, because you have the right to life. Obviously, liberty and the pursuit of happiness is out the window. But you, in effect, become a slave, because they basically can tell you what to do, where to go. You're basically working for pennies on the dollar, whereas if an unincarcerated person were doing that same job, they would at least be getting the federal minimum wage of $7.25. And there needs to be a law generated that if you are working in prison, that you receive $7.25 or whatever the minimum is in your particular state if you have to work. Now, the other side of that coin is they're going to want to charge you the cost for being incarcerated. Well, there's got to be a happy median in there somewhere, okay? If you're incarcerated, and it's the state's responsibility, and they have to pay the cost to incarcerate you. Are they entitled to try to get some of that money back? Yeah, but they cannot force you to work. If you're incarcerated, you can lay there in that cell all day long. You go out, prison activity, blah, blah, blah. You read, whatever. But as far as actually doing work for companies, you need to get paid what you need to get paid. Anyway, that's my opinion. I'll probably do a story on that later on. Here is the story about the inmates and prison guards, correction facility officers, basically both going on strike in the same facility at the same time.
A nationwide prison inmate strike has taken an unusual turn in Alabama. Correction officers at the state's Holman prison joined the protesters when they refused to report for the evening shift on Saturday. Officers have been expressing concern about overcrowding and violence at the prison. Last week, one officer died after being stabbed by an inmate, and the organizer of the strike described the situation as it unfolded.
Right now, the commissioner is passing out trade. Warden Peterson is pulling the card. Deputy Commissioner Cole passing out trade. Every cell, he passing out the trade. I can't believe it. To my black sliding shoes, brown knitted pants, white tweed shirt with the collar bust open, sweating at the temples. It's real. No officer came to work. They completely bucked on the administration. No more. But it be pawns in the game. Now it's time is going down.
Joining me on the phone from Alabama is Banu Hannibal Rahsaan, founder of the Free Alabama movement. Banu, first and foremost, when did this prison strike start? And it goes beyond Alabama. There are other states as well, correct?
That's correct. Started September 9th, 2016, kicked off at 12:01 at Holman Correctional Facility in Admiral, Alabama.
And how many other states are involved?
Right now, we really don't have an accurate count. We've had some estimates as many as 12, so somewhere around 10 to 12 range. And the reason why is because the information is so hard to get out. A lot of the correctional institutions are being locked down. A lot of the correctional departments and administrators are not allowing accurate information to come out. They're disconnecting phones, not allowing people to communicate. But we do know that there are probably at least still 10 to 12 states that are still down.
The main reason for these prison strikes, and we're talking about conditions there as well, and we've historically seen prison strikes over the last 40 or 50 years. But in this particular case here, what is the main thrust being put forward by prisoners?
The main thing is we're trying to build awareness about the 13th Amendment, get people to understand the 13th Amendment did not abolish slavery. That was misinformation that we were educated about, misinformed about. It says that neither slave nor involuntary servitude except as punishment for crime, where the party had been duly convicted. And in that respect, the 13th Amendment, the institution of slavery, is still being carried on in this country. There are a lot of corporations that are invested in prisons. They invest in legislation like mandatory minimums, sentence enhancers, 3-strike laws. They invest in these types of laws to keep people in prison longer because they're then exploiting the labor. They're allowed to get kickback schemes with politicians. They allow them access to come into prisons, build factories. We build products for McDonald's, Wendy's, John Deere, Victoria's Secrets. We build eyeglasses, dentures. We do recycling, Dell computers. We answer call centers for AT&T and Verizon. It is just an endless supply of labor that is being made available, and we're being bought and sold on the open market under the institution of slavery, and it's all authorized by the law, the 13th Amendment.
Do you believe?
Well, I guess I don't have to do my video because this brother basically just covered all the bases.
That so far that you're making any headway in progress?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, the message is getting out. You're aware of it. We're reaching media all around the world. We receive support all the way down in Melbourne, Australia, Athens, Greece, other countries around the world, all over the United States. So definitely the word is getting out.
All right, then. I surely appreciate it, Banu. Thank you so very much. I want to quickly go to our panel here, Steve, Will, Jessica, and Eugene as well. The point he's making there, first of all, he's right. Most people, when they haven't even read the 13th Amendment,
right.
It did say it abolished slavery, except
right.
in the prison system. And I talked to Tamika Mallory of the New York Justice League, and they've been arguing this as well. They make the argument that, wait a minute, if you're using inmates
right.
and paying them virtually nothing, what you're also doing, she said, is you're taking jobs away from Americans who are not in prison, and it's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Why are prisoners doing the work for private companies or publicly traded companies?
Right, it's to lace their pockets. I mean, you see, and now you see in Alabama and other states that the private prison industry, CCA and others are creeping in and trying to get the state legislators, and a lot of people don't know, when those private companies come in, they have a requirement with the state to have 90% occupancy. So if you go below, you have to pay these companies a fee. And so obviously I don't talk about the perverse incentives that creates to keep
First of all,
people
in Mississippi, they've been complaining that, oh my goodness, you know, we don't have enough inmates. Right. Well, wow, sorry.
And this is where, right, these are where, and I know that we're moving away from the term pipeline, but this is where we start to see the school to prison pipeline, right, is when you start to track people into a history of criminalization so that you can fill your prison populations. And that is not only evil, but it has to be a part of this larger conversation of criminal justice reform and also how we upend mass incarceration.
You know, in the words of Kanye West, you know, CCA teamed up with the DEA and they end up their own TPP, their own trans-prison pipeline, and, you know, trans-prison partnership. People have incentives, and these companies have incentives, and I think it's absolutely horrible. What we end up seeing is what happened in Pennsylvania, where you had judges funneling children. You know, it got to a point where they're funneling children to prisons.
Steve, bottom line is this here. What these prisoners are doing, I mean, to have the guards saying, we agree with them, it's a problem.
Well, prisoners have a right to be treated humanely, and if we've progressed as a society, you need to recognize that. This is not the 1800s.
All right, hold tight 1 second, folks. A Travel Award airs Sunday night right here on TV1.
All right, so slavery still alive and well per the 13th Amendment.